All right, well, as promised, because I keep my promises, I am doing a TikTok live at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday after being out on a Friday night. This is good. Nobody's seen me yet, but I'm just getting my. Oh, hey, good morning, Janice. I am here to answer your clutter questions, and at the moment I'm making myself a cup of tea. So, luckily I can multitask. So, if you've got any questions, if you've got something you're stuck with your clutter and stuff, maybe you're in bed like scrolling on your phone on the TikTok like I often do. I'm here to answer those questions for you. Pardon me, I just want to pour this scalding hot water into my mug here. There we go. And then I'll sit down at my kitchen table. So yes, anybody who's got any struggly questions about clutter and stuff and what to do with them, you're getting a little you're getting a little sneak peek of my house. But yeah, what's keeping you stuck? Why are you either not decluttered? Why is your house maybe not as delightful as you want it to be, making you feel good when you're there? Or maybe, I don't know, this is why I call myself the decluttering life coach, is it's not just about your house, because you could have a perfectly clean and organized house, but then if you don't know, like if your life ain't so great, then you're like, oh great, now I have a house that whatever, that it's like I got a clean house, but that's about it. Okay, so I want you, this is why I do this. This is why I am showing up at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday after being out on Friday night, if you know what I mean. So here I am for you. Ask away. I think there's a way. This is only the first, I've only done a couple of these. Now I can see the comments a little bit better. So please ask me your clutter questions, the stuff you're struggling with. I figured the fun time to do this was Saturday morning, because oftentimes we find that like the weekend is when we're like, all right, we're going to do those things. I've been working all week, but I get stuff to do in the house. But you may be stuck with a project. You may be like dreading, or like, okay, we got to clean the garage, or like the basement, or I have to do this thing. I got to dig myself out because it's the weekend. So what are you struggling with clutter-wise? Or just in general, yeah, stuff like that there. Because I grew up in a cluttered home. I mean, you could see around me, I want to say collected things, but I am a collector. I delight in seeing collections and having some collections. I don't do it that much anymore, but I still have my collections, and I've curated them into the stuff that I love. And it brings me joy. My home brings me joy. Welcome, friends. Welcome. Are you stuck with clutter? Here I am. Ask your questions in the comments. I think I can see them. If anybody can actually, because I see a bunch of people joining, which is awesome. But if somebody can put like a comment in the comments, like, yes, here are your comments. This is, I think, my third TikTok live. But I am here to help you get unstuck with your clutter questions and the things that you are dreading doing around your house, to make it easier for you. To make it easier for you to do the thing. Overflowing linen closet, nearly new sheets and blankets. How do I clean this? Okay, the first thing I would say, and hi, how did I get here? Nice to see you. Here's the easiest thing, and I've read it somewhere. Like, see how much of whatever you have you need. Overflowing is kind of great in a way. You think abundance, but are you using all those sheets and blankets? Here's what I would recommend is sort them. Sort them with the ones you use often and the ones you like the best, and the ones that maybe don't get as much use, and either get those into circulation so you're using them, or consider that you may just have too much, and maybe share that. So you start with this. This is the easiest thing, and this is for everybody. This is for everybody. If you feel like you have too much of something and it's overwhelming, you don't necessarily need to donate. Well, first of all, you don't need to do anything you want, but donating it can be the first step. If you're ready to part with something, say, you know what, I have a lot, somebody has none, put it in a bag and donate it to a place that feels good. But if you aren't quite there yet, the one easy peasy simple step is to put it in like a bag or a tote and put a date on it. and put it somewhere in your home where you know you still have it in case you need it, but you may not use it. Get it out of circulation. So those linen closet, get those out, put them in a tote, put them somewhere else. So, and give yourself like 6 months. Like if I don't use these in 6 months, it means I'm cool with what I have, and then it might make it easier to donate. But get it out of circulation. That reminds me of when I worked retail for decades. I was management. I was visual merchandising. Is you don't have all your stock on the sales floor at the same time. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so paperwork is the worst. Yeah, paperwork isn't fun, but here is a way that I think is pretty rebellious that I'm going to offer to you. First of all, open up all your mail, right? This is what you do. You just get in the habit of every time your mail comes in, open up all the important stuff, and literally the first easy peasy step is to just get rid of your recycles. So the envelope itself, never put anything back in that little envelope. It just doesn't help. So take it out of the envelope. Get rid of all like the crap in there, like only keep whatever the important thing is, and then have a designated place to put your like paperwork that I need to action, like the bill I have to pay. Just have an easy peasy place for that. Then here's the thing: make a place for after you have done the action. Like you have a place to put the bill to pay it, and then you go there when you pay it, and then after you pay it, you probably write on it. I do anyway, like I paid this bill. And then instead of getting hung up on I gotta file this and it's gonna be, no, literally take a box and put it in one box. Your paperwork for the entire year, put it in one box, and then you're done. And then do that the same thing. Okay? And the reason I say this is because this was a revelation to me, and for everybody who's listening with paperwork, I don't know why I didn't clue into this sooner, but seriously, the only reason we organizedly file stuff is on the off chance that two things are going to happen. One is that we are going to have to look up something on that bill or statement, like my credit card statement or my Pico bill or whatever. We're going to have to go look it up. How often does that happen? Like never or rarely. The other thing too is on the off chance that you're going to get like audited for your taxes. Now, this is where my Gen X punk rock, up the establishment ness comes in. And then I'm like, why am I going to make it easier for the IRS to look through my stuff? If I get audited, yeah, I'll go through my stuff, but I don't. I want to save those microseconds of my brain and my day to just be like, I paid it, it's good, it's in this box. If I need to go look it up, I know it's in the box. Okay? Hope that helps. I pay everything on auto pay. Everything is paperless account, yet still mail. Interesting. Okay, so curious, guru of real estate one. What mail do you get? Hit me with that, and we'll talk about that. This is what I do with my coaching clients is literally, it's like, I got this problem. I'm like, okay, let's talk about it and let's create a solution that works for your specific situation. Because, yeah, you're getting mail. And trust me, it's like the dishes. I'm pointing to my dishes. It's like the laundry. I'm pointing to my laundry. It's like the mail. There are certain things as humans, it's just part of the flow. It will never stop. So since it will never stop, let's create a system that works for you that is so like emotionally not charged that you just do it like wicked quickly so you have time to do the things you want to do. My life changed after I put a letterbox by my door, trash can under. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's funny. I have a trash can. This is going to sound silly, but it works for me. I have a trash can right near my front door where the mail is, but it's more of like a decorative trash can. Maybe I'll show it one day. A friend gave it to us. But I still, I do, like I have a thing where I'll get the mail, I'll put the stuff on the thing, like I have a routine that works for me. But I love it, Debbie, Texas, that you have done something to make your life easier with your clutter and your stuff that works for you. So rock on with that, okay? Some comment. All right, see? Scan items from the mail, use electronic files on computer. Yeah, or oftentimes, honestly, Rachel, I will say this, sometimes the stuff that you're going to scan, it might be already in an electronic version. Like the stuff that, is on my credit card statement. Like I'm Gen X, so I'm like, happily have a foot in the paper camp and a foot in the digital camp. So even though I get my credit card statements paper-wise, because I like looking through them old school, I know that if I ever need to look up anything, it is also digital. So think about that too. I like to save people steps wherever. I could consider myself like the lazy decluttering coach, but I am like the efficient decluttering coach because I reduce things down for you, for us, to the simplest few steps that you can do the things that you don't want to do so that you have time to do the fun stuff, to go out and you got a lot of living to do. Am I right? Okay. I'm talking about stuff not already there so I can trash it. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Awesome. That's cool. Thank you. Yep. And you can trash it. That rocks on. The other thing I will offer, and again, see, this is where it's just kind of a play. This is what I think of. I kind of hate, like, I don't hate. I find scanning things, and I find scanning things to be an arduous task that I dread. So to me, it is simpler to put my paperwork and stuff not already there. Okay, a hard part is tossing away the bill after I pay it. And I will say this: think about it. This is how I look at it. Is it doesn't take that much space, right? Here's how I deal with my paperwork, and it works for me, so it might work for you as well, is I don't toss the bills after I pay it. Yeah, I have a habit, I have a routine, I have a system that works for me. And so what I do is I pay it, or my husband pays it, and then I do have a little expando thing that's wicked easy that we just file it in. At the end of the calendar year, we just literally did this. We take it all out. I put it in a bag. I put the date time, I put the year on it, you know, and then I put it in a tote in the basement, and then every many years or so, I'll go and put it in a thing to shred. So that's what works for me. Because I'm lazy like that. Like, to me, I know where the paperwork is. It gives me peace of mind. Here's the thing. It gives me peace of mind on the off chance that I need the thing. It's there, but I know I'll never need it. But it's that part of my brain, the fear part of my brain. It's like, don't throw it away. You might need it. Is like, I put it somewhere, and then I toss it in a couple of years. And I do it. I also, if people shred stuff yourselves, I just keep my stuff that might need to be shredded, and I wait for a community shredding event. Yep. See, I pay and date. I do the same thing, and then I just put it in the place, and then at the end of the year, I literally have like a stack of paper, maybe this big. What else am I going to use that space for? And I just put it in a little thing that says 2022. I save it for like a year or two, and then I put it in a bag for things. So I have a system that gets it out of my mind, and I feel good. Hope that works for you. I have spiral notebooks, stick in there. You know what? Whatever works for you. Okay, somebody asked, and I'm just going to look here, I just lost it, but it said something about decluttering clothes. Yes, because I just helped somebody with this recently. Just so you know, it wasn't in real life. It was in real life, but it wasn't one-on-one in their house. I clutter coach via Zoom, much like we're doing right now. It's a little bit more like we talk, so it's easier. It's just so I can help you wherever you are geographically. Decluttering clothes, a couple of things to think about. One is, and this is for everybody, no matter what you're decluttering and whatever you're working with project-wise, if you are overwhelmed by the size of a project, like you can't even get started because it seems so big, here's a clue that changed my effing life. When you feel overwhelmed, all it means is that you're looking at it too big, and you just have to kind of get your focus on one little part of it and just start working on it. So one of the ways, okay, yep, I totally get the decluttering clothes with the weight fluctuation thing. I hear you on that 100%. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I will say is, find a way to, like a theme of your clothes, to take that big thing of clothes and then categorize it. So you're like, I'm only going to work on this. I'm only going to work on that right now, to allow yourself to focus and just get in there and start. So a couple of ways to do that for clothing would be, only deal with the clothing that is of the season that you are in right now, okay? Like, so for example, you look in your closet and you say, you know what? I need to declutter my clothing, but I'm only going to deal with my winter clothing right now. I do that because it's freaking cold where I am right now, and there's no way I'm going to put on my bathing suit right now, or like shorts, like, ooh. So start with only your winter clothes. And then take a good hard look at, or curious, not even a good hard look, that even sounds too arduous, but look with curiosity and love at your clothes and say, do I wear you? Is the answer is yes? Do I look good? Do I feel good in it? Yeah. Put it in the keep pile. If I don't wear this piece of clothing, just get curious. Why don't I wear this piece of clothing? All clutter coaching is, and all decluttering is having a conversation with yourself with curiosity and love, and making decisions that feel good and support who you are now. So for example, when you said your weight fluctuates, right? So one of the things you can do right now to make it easier for yourself is to take all those clothes that are of that weight that you're afraid that you might gain the weight again and need the clothing. Take all those bigger clothes and store them elsewhere so they're not in your main, flow of stuff, and then you have the peace of mind knowing that they're there. Put a date on it to remind yourself of when you did it. And then deal with the clothes that you have now. What are you wearing? Do you feel good in it? Are you keeping it because it's sentimental? Are you keeping it because you paid a lot of money for it and you're not wearing it? There's all sorts of there's conversations you can have with yourself about your stuff, and it's all about the internal conversation. Decluttering coaching, what I do is really just give you the opportunity to ask yourself those questions, kind of like the questions I would ask you. And I did this with my mother. I'm like, what's this piece of clothing? Do you wear it? Do you like it? Yes or no? And I could tell by her face before she even knew whether she was going to keep it or not. Summer clothes, yeah. Donate what you don't wear. That's awesome. Winter in New Jersey sure is. Might as well be fall. The seasons merge so much. Yeah, that's true. Except today, oh my God, I don't know where you are. I haven't even looked. It is so cold. I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm there. I need your help. Do I do one-on-one coaching? Hells yeah. That's my main thing. So Meg's in Wonderland. I do one-on-one clutter coaching. This may be the infomercial part of what I'm doing, but yes, I do one-on-one Zoom coaching. So you can be anywhere geographically. I can be anywhere geographically. And I often do that because I travel a lot and I love to travel. And when I do that, I oftentimes, because I bring my clients with me. So the way that you will get clutter coaching with me is go to my website. Go to destinationdecluttered.com, and there is a big old orange button that says, schedule a consultation. Because what this does is it goes to a calendar, and you and I get on a Zoom call, and you tell me what's jamming you up. And if what is jamming you up is something I can help you with, then we talk about what coaching looks like, what it costs, how to arrange it, so that you get a kickstart on your clutter coaching. And typically, I will say this, I have a package that I do that is 10 weeks, 1 hour coaching sessions each week, because that gets you decluttered and also gets you into that habit, that repetition, that routine, that new pathways in your house, but also in your brain, so that you get the new habits. So that's how if you want to do one-on-one coaching with me, I totally do that. That's what lights me up like nobody's business, because we talk about you and nothing but your specific situations. Like, this is where you're jammed up. Right now, this is more like the general, hey, this might help everybody, which hopefully it will help some people. But I love it when we get into, because it's always those little tiny details about your specific situation that I can see from a different perspective. And I have been a cluttered person. I am not anymore, and I love it. I have been a retail visual manager for home goods places. So like I used to work for Pier 1 and Mikasa. So I know tricks of the trade. I also was a process engineer, which seems so weird to me, but I see where a process falls apart. And then we go back to that little part to create a new path to get to the destination you want. Okay? Okay, so here, I want to make sure I get to people. Yep, okay. I do one-on-one coaching. Hubby loves to see the black bags going off to the clothing bins. Yeah, you should too if you feel good about it. So awesome with that. Our basement upstairs are full of in-law stuff when they were living. Oh, yeah, I'm starting a whole thing, and I totally get that. Y'all, and I'm not even Southern, but I'm using the y'all. I am of a generation, and I am of an era that, yeah, all of us people, whether we like it or not, we are going to have to deal with the stuff that the people in our lives, our parents-in-law, haven't dealt with, or even if they did deal with it and got rid of 90% of the stuff, when they pass, there's still going to be things where they live that you're going to have to deal with. And I will say this, it can be a struggle, because all that stuff is going to remind you of the person that is no longer with you. And I think to get really kind of, serious about it. We are afraid to go through the stuff because we don't want to feel an emotion. And what we don't want to feel is sad and be reminded of that person who's not here. But also it kind of reminds us that we're not going to be here long either. But what I will offer to you is first of all, give it some time, but also that notion of I'm going to do it and it's going to hurt. Your brain is trying to protect you and keep you safe. So that's why you avoid doing that. But what I want to offer is, because seriously, you guys, we just did this. My husband and I just did this. His parents passed away, like 13, 14 years ago. And we had a couple of boxes still in our basement of their stuff. And I was like, hon, can we just open the boxes? It's time. Here's what I want to offer, and maybe share this with your husband, is you may discover something, like there can be stuff with the in-laws things, your in-laws things, that remind you of the good times, and sorry, I just got hey, I think my sister's watching, so hey, Mad Mama Vintage, I just got a text from you, but I'm trying to remain focused, which is really hard, is there can be good stuff in that. You can be reminded of the good times. You may learn something wonderful about the person that has passed away by going through their stuff that you never knew before. We found out some really cool stuff about his dad that we never knew, and that cool story had been packed away for years in the boxes. So hope that helps. Just be kind to yourself, but also it's not so scary. Open up one box, take out one thing, realize you survived that emotional thing, and you might be able to, again, chip away at it. Okay, hope that helps. Oh my God, 6 degrees in Northwest Jersey. If I didn't think I was going to lose my connection here, I'd see what temperature it is here, but it's wicked cold. Okay. Clothing hoarder. First of all, don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. Who are you embarrassed for? Who's looking at you? I'm not. That's one of the beauties of me doing the one-on-one clutter coaching, is I'm not in your house. And still, even if I was, I don't judge you. You should not judge you. You have a lot of clothes. How cool is that you have the opportunity to have so many clothes? Hoarding, first of all, don't talk negative about yourself. You have a lot of clothes and not sure how to start. You just start. You get curious. Pull out all the clothes you love, that you wear all the time, that you feel good in, and make a pile of those and say, oh my God, these are the clothes that I love. And then look at the other ones with curiosity and love and compassion and say, all right, clothes, why don't I wear you? And listen to yourself for the answers. And that's how you start. Okay, gifts. How do you get rid of gifts? That can be a bit tricky because we as humans, and as my sister's watching, we can kind of pour paper plate things. We can imbue things with stories. So the gift shows that somebody cared about you. Oh, look, so-and-so gave me this little bowl. You can keep the good memories. You can extract the story from the thing and say, wasn't that nice? Somebody gave this to me because they were thinking of me. And then the thing just becomes a thing that was made in a factory or made by hand. And then I bet somebody else might love this thing, and then you donate it. Have this release, allow yourself to remember the story. Take it's kind of like you've imbued it with some energy and story. You pull the story away. You put it back in your heart. You say, thank you, person, I love you. And then you can part with it. Okay? Asking for a dumpster for 5 years. Our basement is a mess. All right. How about instead of asking for a dumpster, just call the dumpster people yourself and have them show up? Asking, doing, just throwing it out there. Seriously, look, you're waiting for permission from somebody else. Just start it. That's one way of getting it going. Okay. And yeah, it's 12 degrees. Sorry. I just want to make sure. How in the world do we deal with this? You do it with kindness and compassion and a little bit at a time. That's how you get anything done. I counted 8 blue jean jackets I have the other day. Ridiculous. No, how funny is that? Oh my God, we buy things we like. And then we realize, oh my gosh, I got too many of these. Or, I have a lot of these. Do I need them all? And then you say, no, maybe not. You try them all on. Which one do I like? Which one do I not? And then you could cut your 8 blue jean jackets in half and still have 4 of them. And you probably only wear 1 or 2, And somebody out there on the planet, this is what helps me release things too, is when I have 8 blue jean jackets, I can only wear 1 at a time. But there could be, I could share those with 7 other people on the planet who have no jackets at all, and suddenly I have helped somebody else be stylish, be warm, be comfortable. So think of your abundance, your ability to have a lot of something is so cool because it shows you're in a good place in your life where you have the money to pay for these things. But why not share your generousness, your thing with people who don't have anything, you know? And I would say, yeah, somebody says no dumpsters, donate it. I recommend that too, but honestly, I don't judge. Like, I would ideally like people to donate more, but if it works for you to get a dumpster, my thing is not I help you through the process that makes it right for you to get you to the destination of what you want your life to look and feel like. And if that means getting a dumpster for you, I'm not going to judge it all. And here's the thing, sadly, even the stuff you donate in the grand scheme of life, everything is going to end up in a dumpster at some point in a year, like in some point in history. Okay? So yeah, seriously, making yourself feel bad about it doesn't help. Pardon me, I gotta take a sip. Okay, you have a lot of clothes you want to fit in eventually. Okay, so put them away and say, these are my dream clothes, and then work towards getting it. And I will offer this. Yeah, I'm going through some body changes. I have clothes I used to fit in, and it was hard for me to release those clothes. But then I'm trying to love myself the way I am, so that I love this body, and I'm going to clothe this body in clothes that make it feel good. It's a journey. We're all there. I'm judging. Quit throwing things out. Yeah, you know what? You got to be kind to yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. And think, honestly, a lot of what coaching is me modeling the behavior that is just showing up with you with love and compassion over and over again, so that you start to show up with love and compassion for yourself. And then it just becomes a habit, and then you just love yourself. Okay? And then thank you for loving my glasses. I think I'm going to do like a video from the place I got my glasses, because so many people comment on them and I love them. So I want to share that too. So thank you. That reminds me of that I should do that. Yeah, people need things, good point. Okay, cool. A lot of places are not allowing textiles to be thrown away. That's true. Actually, I think I've heard that maybe. So find a place where you can recycle your textiles. Just make it a thing. I am kind to myself. I get vintage clothes because they're better made. Oh, yeah, they are definitely better quality. I agree. A shame when people throw out clothes. There are so many people in need. Yep, so donate them when you can. But also do not, My goal is, honestly, I'm always just like, there's so many places you can donate stuff. Donate it. Just donate it. If you can, but don't beat yourself up if stuff goes in the trash. I used to have glasses that matched my outfits. I started doing that too, and I realized that's a slippery slope. That, oh my gosh, I could get into this, and it's like, nah, I just wear my same glasses over and over again. Yeah, not all vintage clothing are better. That's most people have fast fashion now. That's true. Whatever works for you, like I used to wear a lot of vintage clothing, and right now I realize the size I am, some of the stuff is kind of matronly and whatever, but the cool thing is about vintage clothing, I will tell you people, firsthand experience, you can sell your vintage clothing oftentimes and make some money off of the clothing you're getting rid of. I made a couple of shekels, and that went to my travel fund because there was clothes I no longer fit in, and so I was able to sell them to somebody. So just an idea. All right, what other cluttery things do we have going on here? And I apologize. I'm going to have to get back to my sister in about a half an hour because I want to make sure I don't lose the live here while I go to try to check my texts. So, Mad Mama Vintage, if you had a question for me, just pop it in the chat, and that's how I'll deal with you. And then I'm only doing this until 9 o'clock, so yeah, okay. Everything is better than putting it in the trash. It is, but I will offer this. If putting in the trash is the only way you can get out of your home, it's not about the process per se. This is why I call my coaching Destination Declutter. Destination Declutter is because I road trip, I travel, and it's about getting you to your life where you want it to be. And if that means having to put some stuff in the trash in order to get there, it's one of the ways you can get there. Oftentimes people will jam themselves up and never get to the destination because they're trying to find the perfect place to offload their stuff. So just an offering. Because at the end of the day, people, all this stuff, no matter where I put it, I could donate it and then they could still put it in a dumpster, you know? So be kind to yourself. Is there a link between clutter and mental health? Hell yeah. And I don't say this in a judgy way, but I will offer a couple of things. Hoarding. People use the word hoarders. There's that TV show. Hoarding is actually a diagnosis in the DSM-5 right now. So that can be, there is definitely a combo of that. I will say this, ADHD, also people can struggle with keeping their stuff out so they can see it because they're afraid if they put it away, they're going to forget it. People with ADHD struggle with routines and keeping up with the boring routines. So surface clutter tends to accumulate, things like that. So yes, there's definitely a component of it. Also, honestly, a lot of it is just habits. Were you trained? Were you shown good systems and habits when you were growing up to make it easy for you? Maybe you had, like, my mother has ADHD. And so I didn't necessarily learn how to have a decluttered home until I got out of the house, and I ended up in jobs that showed me ways that I could do things in my job that made it easier. And then I just transferred those skills to my house. So hope that helps. Somebody asked if I was in Massachusetts. I am from Mass, so you might hear it when I'm talking because I'm probably talking wicked fast. And even said wicked fast. I'm in Pennsylvania right now, but I'm totally East Coast. All right, I'm just scrolling. Yeah, Marcy, I was in Mass. I was going to say go Eagles, but that's whatever. Sorry. This is an irresponsible way of teaching people to throw things out without considering the amount. Hey, you know what? I am not. How much garbage is shipped out of Pennsylvania is terrible. Yeah. I'm not suggesting. Here's the funny thing. I am offering that if you need to occasionally throw something out, don't beat yourself up about it. I am not saying, go pitch it all in. Here's the funny thing. Like, this is why I do, the shortest way for you to get rid of all your stuff is, get a dumpster and put it in a dumpster, and then you're done. What I offer is that I coach people, and I do it myself, is to look at your stuff and to have conversations about it and to make good decisions about the stuff and for you. And, and I'm not being irresponsible, but I'm also being realistic that you can donate stuff and then it can also be thrown away. So that's it. Yeah. How much garbage is there in the planet? It's terrible, but here's what I'm here for. I am here for the planet, 100%, but I am also 100% here for people not feeling like shit. So there you go. If it makes you feel, if the only way you feel like you can deal with your stuff and you don't want to get coaching and you don't want to deal with your things piece by piece, a dumpster may be the way to go. Somebody offered that, and so I'm not going to judge them. If we were in a coaching situation, we could talk about, are there things that you can donate? Are there things you can parse out? That's always my first thing. I mean, here's the funny thing. Like, my entire house is furnished with things that I have thrifted, that I've gotten from thrift stores. I have trash picked stuff. So I'm not about pitching stuff and going to buy stuff in Pottery Barn. So there we go. What else we got? I purged my crafts 5 times. Yeah. Oh, I used to think I was going to be crafty. I'm so not crafty. Whatever. Work on your own feelings. My entire house has been uncluttered. I feel so much better. I agree. It does feel so much better to be uncluttered. It gives your body, your eyes, your brain a chance to rest. It gives you some nice clean spaces where your brain is not always processing and telling you stories about stuff. How do I start decluttering my basement from a 10-year move? Again, this is my thing. It's like you start a little bit at a time. And sometimes you can start with, I'm only going to deal with furniture. You pick out a theme. This is the 2 ways to start. You pick out a theme and you say, okay, I'm going to only deal with the stuff that's not in a box. Or I'm only going to deal with the things that are blue. Or I'm only going to go down there and look at the boxes that are to the left of the furnace. Like, whatever works for you, do that. The other way too, though, is if you're overwhelmed about doing it and you know it's a bigger project and you know you're not going to get it in a day, set a timer. Use your phone. This is what I do a lot when I'm doing a big project and I realize that I don't have a lot of time, and even if I did have all day to do it, I don't want to use all day, is I will set a timer for a certain amount of time and I will work on it for that amount of time. And then when the timer goes off, I high five myself, metaphorically, but I say, I get the dopamine rush of, look at me, I did what I said I was going to do. I keep the promise to myself, and then I can decide, do I want to continue? And I set my timer again. And do I want to continue? I set my timer again. And if I don't, I have gotten, instead of feeling like, oh shit, I didn't get it all done, I get the feeling of, check me out. I showed up for 30 minutes and did something and I made progress, because anytime you show up to declutter, you will make progress. Okay? Exactly. Yep. Okay. Everybody's talking. Yeah, you get tired of the things owning you. Yeah, I talk about sometimes when you get stuff, sometimes your stuff lights you up. Like when you buy it, like, oh my God, check out this cute little bowl that I got. I love this little bowl. And then at a certain point, sometimes you're like, but now I have it. What do I do with it? I don't know. And it kind of weighs you down. Like the sheer volume of stuff can weigh you down. What decluttering, what I teach and what I do myself is to have conversations so you're only surrounded by the stuff that you love. Like I still love this little bowl. It's right here because I thought I was going to be eating my cereal from it. But, I don't have other bowls, I love mugs, but don't see so many. Yeah. So here's a fun thing. We have mugs, and I've gone through occasionally, like, do we need this? Do we not? You have your favorite mugs that you use probably over and over again. This one right here, this is one of my favorite mugs. I love the size of it. It fits my hand. It fits a lot of tea. So I pick out my favorites, because this is another thing. You deserve the best. You deserve the best. So I pick out my favorite mugs, and some other ones we can let go. And the other time, and it's like, and then we have mugs in case people come over for coffee. Why do I feel guilty throwing out shoe boxes? My husband collects shoes. Here's a curious thing. Answer that yourself. Why do I feel guilty? Is it a good box? I don't know. Like, it's just curious. Just answer the question with curiosity and compassion. And I would offer, there's no, just get to know yourself about that. Do you think you're going to use it someday? That's why the coaching comes in. That's why this is good for helping people. But what I will take away from that is your question really brings up it's all about a conversation you have with yourself and where you want your life to look and feel. And if you love those boxes and they light up your life, keep them. But if you're feeling meh about the boxes, ask yourself why you're keeping them on. Okay? You've donated, but nobody wants them. Okay. Donating, no one wants it. I missed what you were donating. Oh, the shoe boxes? Maybe break them down if they are cardboard, break them down and recycle them. There's that. Yeah, ask yourself where it's going to live in your house. See, this is what I do. It's like I went around, and so for example, like this bowl, I used to collect this kind of glass. This is called Manhattan glass. It's like a depression glass, pressed glass from like the 20s, 30s type thing. And every time, like I'd light up when I see that, and it's like, oh my God, I want it. And then I realized a lot of it I had collected, but I wasn't using. So this is the other thing: is start to use the stuff that's in your house. And so instead of keeping this as like a precious object that's like, and I only use it on special occasions, I now eat my cereal out of this little bowl. And I use a little bowl because I could eat a whole thing of cereal. I could eat a whole thing of cereal in one sitting. So I keep it small. So I eat some, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done. So use your stuff too. Play with your toys. Play with your toys. Okay. Here's an idea. Okay. Jordans and expensive shoes. Okay. There might be another sneaker collector out there who would love those things. Ask anybody. Go onto the internet. Here's the great thing. Like, there's like the Facebook free groups and stuff like that. See if anybody else wants the boxes. They might help them with their things. The shoes are expensive. The boxes, I don't know. That's a conversation. I would want to know more about that. Like, are you going to sell the shoes at any point? If you are, if the boxes add to the value, then you maybe keep them if you're going to sell them. But if you're not going to sell them, I know. And here's the funny thing, like, they make some packaging, like some really quality packaging that it makes you feel guilty. It makes you feel like, this is like too good to throw out. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna recycle it as best I can and get it out of my house, because I don't want to be jammed up with that stuff. It's more important for me to feel good and, recycle it and stuff like that. So thank you. Yeah, you know what? This is why I do what I do, and that's why I show up. I do this one-on-one coaching like this with Zoom, but we both get on and we talk specifically about your issues that you're struggling with, and we create like a roadmap. I'm all about road tripping, so I do this whole coaching thing. I make it fun. And that's how we get you out from the roadblocks that are in front of you to getting you to the life you want, the decluttered life, the life where you have time and space to do the things you want to do. I don't want you, this is why I showed up so early on a Saturday morning, is because I know Saturday tends to be the time where people are like, oh, I have to do these things. And yeah, we all have maintenance and stuff that we do around the house. What I help you with is getting out from under the big kind of backlog of clutter. And I teach you tools and skills to not only get decluttered from the decades of backlog, but also so that moving forward every day, that clutter does not reaccumulate. It's just a lot of habits and routines that work for you and however your brain and house and life work. Okay? Yes, don't save your grandma's china for special occasions. Use it now completely. We all, people, I'm telling you, like I said earlier up thread, whether you like it or not, you are most likely going to, if you have parents or relatives, you are going to be dealing with somebody else's clutter, whether you want to or not, when they die, when they move. So get clear also on what you want in your house so you can better say, yeah, I will keep this stuff, but I won't keep that stuff. And, sooner rather than later, make a decision about these things, and make a decision that feels right for you. Sometimes china can be worth something to somebody who's trying to create a set. Other times, like literally, you can barely give it away. And that's when you might want to donate it or give it to somebody who does a crafty thing. Maybe they break it up and they make a mosaic, and then you have something, like I have actually. It's funny. There's a thing right over here that has a little dog, ceramic dog in it, that the backing of it is a saucer from my parents' china that I got from my mom. And then I had a crafty friend. We worked together and she assembled this little piece for me. So there's very ways you can use it. Yeah. Okay, I now live in my late parents' house with 5 generations of stuff. Oh, hun, what can I do to help? What I will tell you this, though, this is I will plant this seed, is when you start to have the conversation with yourself about what you want your life and house to look and feel like, when you get clear on that and you're like, gosh darn it, this is what I want to look and feel like, and you start basing decisions on that, that's when you can get some action. And that's when you can release the clutter and start creating that life and that house that you look and love like, just even from right now, check it out. You can see my house. I did not grow up in a house that had orange and pink and lime green walls. Am I right? If my sister's still on here. But it's the house I wanted. My parents are like, oh my God, like whatever. They know me now by this time. But I decided this is my life and this is what I want my house to look like. In my house, every time I walk in it, I just am so delighted. It makes me smile. It makes me feel good inside when I open my door and I see the sunshine on these bright colors and all my stuff. So that's how I created my house, and I want you to do that for you too. Okay? So I'm here for the next 15 minutes. If you have things that you're struggling with, clutter-wise, if you're going to start a project today, if you thought you were going to start a decluttering or I got to, do something today, what's stopping you, and how in the next 15 minutes can I help you get unstuck and get moving towards the projects, the decluttering, the donating, the, all that stuff. I'm here on a Saturday morning, early on a Saturday morning after I went out on a Friday night for you, because I want you to get unstuck and get moving in a way that feels good towards that life you want to look and feel like, Thank you. I'm here to inspire you and to encourage you, because this is what I do with my one-on-one coaching, is I know what it means to not want to do something. And then I'm like, you know what? I could do this and it won't be that bad. It just helps. So I'm here to help. Okay. Thank you. Awesome. Go back to your sewing. You take care and have a great day. That's great. Yeah. Okay. Any tips on making these decisions? Yeah. Yeah. Here it is. First of all, they can be hard decisions, but just instead of thinking of them as hard decisions, think of them as curious, being curious. Instead of being arduous, say, you know what, do I like this? Bring some lightness and play and curiosity into your decision making, and it will make it easier. Because every time you make a decision, here's the thing. First of all, don't try to make too many decisions, but realize that every decision you make should resonate with you in a way that reflects who you are and what you value and your unique personness. So realize that every decision is creating the life either you want or you don't want. So be curious and say, is this going to add to the life that I want? Or is this going to add to the life that I don't want? And ideally, you say yes to the things that add to the life you want, and you say no, and you part with the things that don't want. So life is always a decision. Like if you think about it, we're always in our car, and I use the car metaphor when I coach because it just takes the drama out of it. But oftentimes we are always at a Y in the road where you're like, I could do this or I could do that. And so what I suggest, and this is why we do the coaching, is I help you make those decisions. In a coaching situation, we would talk through this stuff, and I would say, here, talk through this. Why are you struggling with this? What can we do? Like, what's behind it? Like, let's dismantle that roadblock. And let's get you always on the road to a life that you love, in a house that you love, and things that light you up and make you feel good. Because when you feel good, you do good. And when you feel better, you do better. And so those roads lead to the good stuff, okay? I hope that's helped. Lots to do in my house that I don't ever see progress, hard to throw up. Okay, this is for everybody. Thank you for the whole thing about progress. Here's what I do in my coaching, and I highly recommend it for yourself too. Take a before picture every time you start a project. You can delete it afterwards, but here's what you do. You take a before picture, and then you start to declutter and work on, and ideally you work on like one section, but you do some things that get you towards this destination, okay? Then you take a picture when you're done. Those pictures are cold, hard evidence that you have made progress because stuff is different than when you started. If I was I was going to say if I was at my desk, I brought some stuff to the kitchen table. So here's how it is, okay? This is how I coach road trip style. If you're on the East Coast, you take a picture here. If you show up decluttering, it's like you're driving for however many minutes or miles, right? You start to do the decluttering. And it may not feel like you're making progress, but you are, because you take a snapshot there and you have moved that much further towards being decluttered. Now, if you have a backlog of clutter, it may not look like it. And here's the more important part. You are making progress, but your brain is trying to tell you that you're not, because part of your brain does not want you to become decluttered. Part of your brain likes you cluttered because it helps you feel safe sometimes. Now, that's a little bit kind of deep into the coaching stuff, but just think about that you are making progress, but your brain is telling you you're not. Okay? It can be hard to throw out stuff, and here's what I recommend is I recommend starting with surface clutter. There are 3 flavors of clutter that I talk about when I do my one-on-one coaching with people on Zoom, and I'll share it with you. We have surface clutter, we have stored clutter, and we have sentimental clutter. So start with the surface clutter, the stuff that doesn't have an emotional attachment. You've got your laundry, you've got your dishes, you've got like your trash, you've got your mail, stuff like that. And work on a system that gets that stuff off of where it is and into where it should be. And this is what we work with when I do clutter coaching. And then if you show up with that, it's kind of like doing one sit-up and then another sit-up and another. You build the muscle of making decisions and
tossing things. And this is why we work together. Here's the thing. I'm actually embarrassed to even take a picture of my clutter. Like, who else is going to see it? It's just for you. It's just for you. And sometimes they will say this. Somebody mentioned and sometimes the comments here are kind of going whoosh. So I miss some of them. Somebody mentioned ADHD. And I want to say this, that I've learned with more than one of my clients, because many of my clients do have the ADHD and struggle with it. So here's a tip. I'm not kidding you. They will say, I look at my stuff, I look at my house and whatever, I don't, like, it looks like it is. I take my phone or I take my camera to go take this picture, and I see things that I didn't see before. It gives you some distance from it, right? So taking the picture is powerful. You don't have to show it to anybody else, but when you show it to yourself, it shows you where you started, so that when you make progress, you can congratulate yourself that it no longer looks like that. Even if you put away 5 things, you have made 5 things progress in the right direction. Okay? So don't, like, your embarrassment is what's keeping you being cluttered. Don't show it to anybody. Show it to yourself. Love yourself. And take the picture and then get decluttered. Okay? Yeah, ADHD, I use a lot of systems because I have it in my family. I've got it a bit myself, though I've learned skills to cope with it. And so I know what it's like personally, professionally, all the ways. And that's one of the reasons why I specifically do one-on-one coaching, because I think it's really important. The way you're going to succeed and not only get decluttered but stay decluttered is creating a system that works for you and for your unique brain. I can offer what works for me, but it may not work for you. And in the one-on-one coaching situation, we get to say, oh, okay, so that didn't work. Where did that process break down? And how can we create something that works for you and your routine and your house and your family and your time of life, so that you stick with it and then you just get it into the habit track of your brain. Sometimes what happens with people is, especially with ADHD and the inability to focus, is you don't show up enough for your brain to switch to take something that you have to think about into the part of your brain that just makes it a habit. But you've learned habits before, you can learn them again. You can. Yeah, see, there are plenty of ways to get your stuff off. Yeah. How do you decide what to keep from your kid's childhood? Ask them what they want, because you're basically keeping it for them so they remember it and you remember it. Ask them. Have them be a part of it. And if they're like, I don't know, put it in a tote. Here's another thing. Containers can help you keep things under control. So have a plastic tote. I say plastic because in case something gets flooded, it won't get, damaged. But have a tote and say, all your stuff for your kit, your whatever, can only fit in this. And once it gets too full, we're going to have to go through it and decide what to part with. Okay? But it can only fit in this, and once it's full. Okay? See? Pick a color. Yeah, it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. And that's why it's good to have ways to get started. Because once you get started, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. Started doing this, and the worst part is paperwork. I'm tackling it. I did have to start with junk. Yeah. Make your paperwork. These things aren't recorded, but paperwork, make it easier for yourself. I have ways that I can share that make the paperwork so much easier than maybe what you're doing. Because what you want to do is make it as simple as possible, so it's not a big deal, so you just do it, and then you go off and live a fun life, okay? How about caring about people who don't have things? Yeah, do that. Yeah. You know what? I don't upload my lives to YouTube. I don't know. Maybe I'll try that. We'll see. I'm still figuring this whole thing out. Maybe the coaching should stop. Yeah, hey, you know what? CC Smiles 2020. Yeah, you know what? We get to that. But also, people spend money on stuff. We live in a capitalistic society. And what I want to offer is, we have been taught that buying stuff will make you feel better. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. We talk about that. And I'm not going to come on here and rail against people saying, stop spending your money on garbage. Like, how far does that get me? Makes me feel like shit. Makes other people feel like shit. Okay? So how about this? I show up with love and kindness because I know what it's like to be cluttered. And I know what it's like to be overwhelmed by my stuff. I also know how glorious it feels to be on the other side. And so I don't coach like that. I will be with curiosity and compassion to be like, so why'd you buy that? I don't know. Tell me, you know? And yeah, kids have different struggles. Just got the #1 gifter badge. I don't know what that means, but I think it sounds like something good, so thank you. Yeah, hit the like button. I kind of don't know what these things mean, but I think they're good. So my problem is we had to clear out 5 households of stuff in 27 months. Oh, that is tough. You must be exhausted. But when you feel like it's time, like here, your life is worth it. So what I want to offer is you are worth it. You are worth showing up for yourself and creating the life you want. To get out from underneath the clutter, whether it's yours that you inherited, whether you created it yourself, however it's there, it's there. And what I want to offer in the next 4 minutes that I'm on here, and then I have to go do stuff, is you, my friends, are worth it. You are worth living a life that feels good, that looks good, that smells good, that you can invite people over, that you can just walk around your own house and be like, oh my God, I love this stuff, right? You deserve it. If there's one thing that I want to plant a seed and ask you to water it, walk around today saying, I deserve to live in a house that makes me feel good. Deserve to live in a life that makes me feel good. And that's how I get done. Once your lives are done, you can download. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the help. Yeah. All right. You know what? I love you guys going back and forth. It's good. Everyday junk mail. Okay. Everyday junk mail. Yeah. Do you have a recycling bin? This is what I do. I actually delight in tearing my junk mail in half. They're not getting me. And I put it in the recycle bin. Boom. I don't even emotion. That's the only emotion I attach to it. I don't even open it. Sometimes I notice they start to put little pieces of cardboard in it to make it difficult for you to tear up. They're onto me. So then I dismantle it and then I still tear it up because I hate, it's like spam in your email box. I hate it when people send me stuff I don't want. So I'm like, yeah. Oh, well, you know what? Here's the deal. Pearls of Wisdoms and Tips. I do this. I have a lot of, I try to share many of these on all these videos that I have on my Destination Decluttered TikTok page, but then also I upload these too on Instagram and Facebook. So there's that. Do you have a set day time for your lives? No, well, kind of. I don't know. I just started doing them, and I decided that on a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, people might be starting projects, so I started that. I don't know. Maybe I will. Thank you. Yeah, I might try that. So thanks. And if I do, I try to put a little reminder, like I did a little pinned reminder because I just decided to do this yesterday. Don't bring it. So yes. So I'll do that. Thank you very much. I'm hoping this helps. Here's the deal. Beating yourself up and talking mean to yourself. If it worked in getting our stuff done, we would all be fucking rock stars, okay? It doesn't work. It just makes you feel like shit and you just want to go back to bed. What I want to do, and this is how I have helped myself and I help my clients, is I show up for myself with love and compassion and kindness. And I show up for you with love and compassion and kindness and curiosity to be like, hey, why is it like this? I don't know. Let's figure it out. Okay. So you bought something. It didn't work out. That's all right. You're learning about yourself. You're learning what you like and you don't like. And that allows me to make progress. And so that's why I want to share this. It's Destination Decluttered on Instagram, on Facebook, kind of all over the place for this stuff. So yes. So if you have other people in your lives that could be helped by this and they're not on TikTok, because not everybody's on the TikToks, I have tons of videos. Every video that I upload here to TikTok mostly will go to my Facebook page and my Instagram page, okay, to help as many people wherever they are. Oh, how do you know I'm talking mean to yourself? Because you're human, like we all are, and we have a negativity bias in our society and in our human structure, because you're human. So, okay, and a depression, yeah, and so mental health can affect your clutter. It's so true. But showing up, I will say this, because maybe I'll start. Okay, here's the thing. I said I was only going to do this for a minute or for an hour. I see a bunch of you on here and I don't want to abandon you. I want to help as many people as I can while I'm here on the planet. I am going to be on for another 15 minutes, but here's what I would like you to do is if you have any questions if you're stuck with your clutter, I will answer them in the next 15 minutes, and then I have to do my own stuff. What I want to offer to you right now is that there's a ton of information right here on my TikTok page with videos I've done that will give you specific things to deal with your clutter, but also just inspirations to keep you going, to remind yourself why you're doing it in the first place. I also do one-on-one coaching. This is what my main deal is, and this is when you get the opportunity one-on-one for 10 weeks, one-on-one for an hour on Zoom. We talk about and make progress on your specific clutter situation. And we make progress every single week. And you learn about yourself and you find out what's important to yourself, where you are right now in your life. And you hold on to the things that make you feel good and you use. And it makes it easier to part with the stuff that just ain't working for you, you know? And yes, self-talk is, you know? Taxes, what do I need to keep for previous years? You need to keep them for 7 years. So anything that's past 7 years, get it shredded. I don't even want to say shred it. Don't waste your time shredding your own stuff. Put your stuff in a bag, throw it in the back of a closet, and remind yourself to look for a community shredding event or go to a place that has a shredder. Don't spend your days. Your time is so valuable. Don't spend your days shredding stuff daily, right? Go play. Go live. That's what I say. I find when I declutter, it gets right back. Okay, here's the funny thing. So it's interesting that you notice this because that just means that you have systems and routines that don't support you being decluttered consistently. Also, you notice I'm saying Helmsgalador. These names I can't get. Your husband has systems and routines and habits that add to the clutter, that do not support being decluttered. And that's why in the one-on-one things, we talk about that and we create systems that work for you. Now, I also do coaching. I've coached couples before. So if you and your husband are both like, yeah, we want to be decluttered, I do that because you can't declutter somebody else. And especially if somebody else has it, it's a dance. It's a dance. Like my husband is very cool with me, creating these things. He's like, whatever, okay. But then he has his own music studio that stuff's all over the place. And I'm just like, that's your place, but this is our place, okay? So, yeah. There we go. There you go. A little bit at a time. Court papers, father-in-law passed, 7 years. Here's the thing. I am not a legal expert, but Google it. Google it. I am pretty sure 7 years is good. And the thing is, too, with some of this stuff, a lot of this stuff is now still available electronically. Back in the day, if you had a paper copy of something, think about like the Declaration of Independence. They didn't have electronic filing systems. They didn't have all sorts of things. So you only had the one thing. The papers you have are probably copies of something that are on file somewhere else. So if you're afraid you're going to need them at some point, hold on to them. It probably only takes up this amount of room in your life, so you're not really, but just know that you're making yourself feel better by keeping them. You may never have to access them. And then wait 10 years and then dispose of them, right? Piles and totes and cloths. Yep. So, yeah, my husband has an office studio too. Yeah, they do. I got my office and studio. I keep mine tidy. He keeps his messy because our brains work in different ways. Always cleaning and try to deliver the same room. Oh, declutter maybe the same room. I get overwhelmed. Yes, overwhelm. I said this earlier. I'll say it again. I repeat myself all the time because it's the same things, but it's so true. Overwhelm just means that you're looking at it too big and you're like, oh, this is so big, I can't even deal. It's like trying to go on a cross-country road trip and thinking you can drive to California from Pennsylvania in one day. What you need to do is you show up a little bit at a time. And you show up and you show up and you show up a little bit at a time and you chunk it on down. It's like, it's like a spoonful, a spoonful, a spoonful, a spoonful, or a shovelful if it's snow, right? I've been working on my bedroom for a year. Yeah, it takes time. Here's the funny thing, but it takes time, but it took you time to accumulate this stuff. It's like gaining weight. You didn't gain it in a day. You're not going to lose it in a day. The way you did it was incrementally and slowly over time. The way that you will lose it is incrementally over time. The good thing is, though, is the more you show up, the quicker it goes. I use clear totes so I could see what's inside. Yes, I totally do that too, 100%. I do that. I realize that clear totes make it so much easier for me to do that. And they stack. I do genealogy. Any tips? Yes. Here's a tip I'll give. First of all, curate your own history. Throw away the pictures of yourself where you look like shit. That's what I do. And just think about the fact that future generations don't need the flip book of all of the things you did in your life. So curate the pictures that you want 3 generations from now to be remembered by. Like, look at me, I'm the cool aunt who did this, from these handful of pictures. And then, you don't have to include your, all the pictures from all my trips. Ain't nobody gonna want to look at those except for myself. Oh, you're welcome. I'm hoping I'm helping. Yep. Oh, see, smiles. Oh, you know what? Yeah, gift for free. I totally agree. But telling people they're selfish is not going to make them feel good and want to do stuff. So I'm just being kind to you, as I hope you are kind to yourself internally. Yeah, and yes, and there are ways you can do genealogy stuff online. I just went to a seminar about there's a place where you can send them boxes of your stuff for them to digitize it. You still have to organize it yourself though, so there's that. But there are ways you can do the genealogy and get your family involved in the genealogy. Get them engaged in it so that there's somebody you can pass it along to and share it with. That's why you're doing it, right? Okay? Yeah. So I'll be here for the next 9 minutes because I'm 15. If you have things that you're struggling with stuff and clutter, I am Beth. I am the decluttering life coach, because it's not just about having a decluttered home, because if you're not happy in a messy home, you're not going to be happy in a clean home and in a decluttered home. It's about working on yourself so that your home and your stuff supports the person and the life you want, Yeah. So what else are you struggling with? Let me think. What else can I help with? Yeah. Hey, you know what? CC smiles. The truth is relative to some people, okay? What I ask you with loving kindness to do is to not beat people up. And I hope you find some peace. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that, Email hell, I'm assuming you have cluttered emails. Yeah, the wonderful, interesting thing about digital clutter is that it takes up no physical space, but it can feel as overwhelming. I have tricks that I use that help me do that, but yeah, I store my stuff on the off chance that I might need it. I literally have an online folder of emails that I ported over from my AOL account like how many years ago, and it takes up some megabytes, whatever, and I could delete them, but I know they're there, and it's like, oh, okay, I have them there. But I don't need, I have a way to deal with the surface clutter every day and to file things that works for me, and I can show that to you. But yeah, don't worry. Yeah, that's awesome. As a historian, I can say it's very important you take the courses on curating an archive. Oh, completely. Yeah, if you want to curate your family history, yeah, get into it. Rock on. I was an art history major, so I'm all about the proper ways to do it. I just say, yeah, don't throw away any pictures that are only a single, an 8x10 from back in the 1800s or whatever, the individual things. I say, digitize them to share them with the family digitally. By any means, get the word out about your family to the family so they can feel involved in it as well. Yard sales every spring. That's awesome. I used to do that. I don't have to do it anymore because I have no clutter left to do it. And as things accumulate, I donate them throughout the year. I have a free pile that we used to put free stuff out on the corner. I have a freestanding, I have a sign that we used to just do free stuff, and now we don't really have any free stuff because we're not accumulating like we used to. I am flowing. Oh, thank you. You too. Have a peaceful day. 25-foot storage unit. I'm afraid if I get rid of it, I'll need it later. Well, have a conversation with yourself and see what's in there. And my thing is storage units are good for temporary stuff. But if you're doing it long term, you're just not dealing with your stuff. And the funny thing is if you were going to need it, you would be in there digging out the thing because you were going to use it. So oftentimes we hold on to things for fear that we're going to use them someday. Yeah, and even notice your words. This is so fascinating. This is what I love about coaching. You're saying, I'm afraid that if I get rid of it, I'm going to need it later. So ask yourself, what is in there that you might need? And what I'll offer to you is if you do get rid of it, you may never need it, but you may need it, and that's okay. If you do need it, This is what I say. Believe you can borrow. Believe that it's not the only fondue pot on the planet. That if you get rid of your fondue pot and then you realize you need a fondue pot, ask a friend, ask a neighbor, does anybody got a fondue pot? Everybody on the planet has too much stuff. Somebody probably has one you can borrow, okay? So just be kind to yourself. And if you don't want to spend that money on the storage unit, by all means, start chipping at it a little bit at a time, you know? Yeah, and you can take pictures of sentimental things and get rid of. Yes. Uh-huh. Oh. Well, here's this. Okay. I don't even know what to ask you. Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you this. Rock on with your bad self for spending 2 days this week clearing out trash and sweeping. High five. Check you out for showing up and doing the good stuff. How about like, yeah, Emmer effer, I'm doing it. Reward yourself. Like, keep on doing the things you know how to do and feel good about it. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Tips for reducing accumulation. I stockpile when food is on sale. Seriously. And this is where CC Miles, you know what? Yeah. Is we get an emotional dopamine charge when we feel like we're getting a bargain. Like, oh my gosh, this costs less than it usually costs. But how much of that food are you actually eating? Now, if you are eating it and it is in regular rotation, keep on eating that food. But if it's too much, if it starts to accumulate, what I want to offer is this. Look at the expiration dates on your canned goods and your already packaged items and make a plan to eat that food. Don't buy stuff until you eat that food. If you bought it because it was on sale and now you're sick of it because you ate too much of it, now you're kind of done. If it's packaged and it's not expired, donate it to a food pantry. Get it out of circulation and then remind yourself the next time you go try to accumulate stuff to be like, oh my God, it's on sale. It's a wicked good deal. Maybe you do get that dopamine rush of it's being on sale, but then you keep some of it for yourself and then you automatically just donate stuff to the food pantry. We donate stuff to the food pantry all the time because we buy things we think we're going to use and then we realize we're not using it and it's not opened and it's not expired and we know somebody else has nothing so they can benefit for it. You know, so just take a look at it with curiosity and be like, oh, has this expired yet? Time flies, people. Like I'm like, oh my God, we've had this for like 6 months. Or, oh my gosh, this is gonna expire in 3 months. Like, we better eat it or get it to somebody who's gonna eat it before it expires. You know? Yeah. Uh-huh. Watch bikers groups for fundraisers. Yeah, many places need things for auctions. I donate stuff to the Historical Society in my town because the Historical Society does sales and they get the money from it and I feel good about it. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So 2 more minutes. I'm just going to wrap up to say whatever you are doing for yourself to declutter is the right thing. If you are removing items from your life that no longer serve you, that weigh you down instead of lighting you up, you are doing a good thing. Because what you're doing is you're creating a life you want, a life that feels good to you. And that's all what this is all about, Charlie Brown, is you feeling good in your life where it matters. And oftentimes that means removing stuff that doesn't work to give room to stuff that does work. And nice to meet you as well. Please follow me here on Destination Decluttered on the TikTok. Also, if there are people in your life that struggle with clutter and they didn't randomly show up at this live, I also post videos, the videos that I post here on TikTok, I also post on Instagram and Facebook. If people aren't on TikTok, they can get these messages. And I post daily, sometimes multiples, and I show up with encouragement and compassion and curiosity and love to get you going, because I know that's how I get to where I'm going. It's not talking back to myself, but talking good to myself and encouraging, and also with tips and specific things about being decluttered. And I'll leave you with this one. You're welcome. Is you get to learn who you are right now. Something that was important to you years ago, last week, may not be important to you now, and that is okay. And it's okay to learn about yourself and learn that, and then pass that thing along to create space for who you are now and who you want to be. Okay? So I'm going to sign off now because I'm going to go create a life that I want to live. And thank you for showing up, everybody. Please follow me. Comment on the posts that I do so we can keep this conversation going. And if you want one-on-one coaching with me, go to my website, destinationdecluttered.com. Oh, yeah, I have a mailing list, too. You can join it there. I send out a habit tracker, all that. I have a ton to sell. Any suggestion? Yeah, see what it's really worth, and if it's worth your time selling it. I don't know what you have, but yeah, do a little Google search. If it's worth 50 or 100 bucks, you might want to do it. Other than that, donate it and delete it. Okay? I have to go, you guys. You go rock on with your bad selves. Have an awesome day. Declutter. And I got to figure out how to stop this. All right? Bye. Have an awesome Saturday. All right, here we go. I think I'm shutting it off. Can you tell I do this all the time? There we go. Yeah, I am canceling it now.